Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen of YouTube. Lloyd's Welding here. I ain't made a video in a while. Been busy. Been cleaning out the shop, trying to organize a little better, getting everything, better. I've just not had time. Landscaping's taking a lot of my free time, but had yesterday off, and so I'm gonna work on some more of this stuff. What I'm wanting to do here is I'm wanting to make a driveway scraper, land plane. They call them a bunch of different things, but this is gonna be my driveway scraper. It's gonna be built not like a box blade, but if you look at it like a box blade, it's a real tiny version of one. It's gonna be 5.5 foot wide. I'm gonna use these for my side runners. This is 4x4 angle iron, and it's gonna be 5.5 foot wide. These wasn't quite long enough, so what I'm doing is, before I cut this in half, this big piece, cutting my ends flat as I can, throwing them on here, clamping them down. I'm gonna weld that seam and then let it cool, flip it over, clamp it again on the outside of that, and then weld the seams again and let it cool, and that way hopefully it'll stay straight. What I'm doing too is I want something to dig the rock up first and scrape it up. So I was at a yard sale and I bought a whole bucket, a 5-gallon bucket full of railroad spikes. What I'm gonna do with them is this piece of square tubing. It's like 1.5 inch or 2-inch square tubing by about a 1/4 inch wall thickness. I'm gonna go down through here and cut little square holes everywhere, every so often, like one here, about 6 to 8 inches apart. And I'm gonna do the same on the other side, and I'm gonna drop that spike all the way through and just weld the top. That way, odds are, scraping the driveway, I'm gonna bend them spikes or I'm gonna wear them down, so I need a way to replace them and not have to cut the whole bar off and replace the whole bar. I could go buy teeth, but I mean, why not use what you got? This is all scrap stuff people was throwing away that I ended up picking up. So the total cost of this is nothing to me besides my gas and my wire and my time. I'm gonna say most of it was scrap. I might have paid for a little bit of it, but not a lot. But here's where we're starting. I'll show you pictures and take more video as we go along. Alright guys, got my frame squared up. Got as level as I could on here and squared up as I could on sawbucks in the dirt floor. We had an old blade that we bent doing snow removal. I cut the 3-point hitch off of it, so I ain't even got to make one. I was gonna make it out of this stuff, but it's a little super heavy duty. Got a little thicker. This I did buy this piece, but I've got my 2 front racks where I'm going to drop the railroad spikes down in there and weld the tops of them and not weld the bottom. That way if I bend one, break one, whatever, I can grind it off on the top, drop another one in, and weld it on. So I got replaceable teeth. At the back, this is what I was talking about with that big piece of angle iron. I just laid it down flat. It runs exactly flat with the bottom of this. And what I was meaning by box blade, it keeps all the gravel within this square that it digs up. So it's going to pile it back here on the back, and when it gets so high, it's going to just start letting it roll over. And as we drag, it's going to fill in any holes, is what I'm hoping. I might have made it a tad bit too long, not sure yet. But what I was thinking about doing is putting some angles in here of that, and put the angles in here. That way it pushes all the gravel towards the center and then spreads it out evenly. I don't know if that'd help or not. I was going to start with this first and see how it does. But this is where I'm at right now, and I'll let y'all see it when I get this mounted on. I got to make a pivot for this so this thing just floats on the ground, the whole thing. So I can't weld this solid, so I'm cutting these right now to use these bolts, grade 8 bolts, to make a pivot, and then on the back right here, somewhere up top, I'm gonna weld a chain out and then weld it to the center back there. I'll probably branch it out to that corner and branch it out to that corner. That way it's more stable when you're carrying it. It ain't flimsy. But I guess we'll see how it goes, and I'll let y'all see it when I get it done. Then I'm gonna try it out, and then we're gonna paint it. Alright guys, don't have a lot of videos in between. I get started welding, get to record videos, and this is how it goes. But I started off, I put my 2 bars up front, and none of this was on top. I did my chain so it can, you know, free float going down my driveway. And that big piece of steel right there was not on the back. And that block wasn't either. I was going down the driveway and ended up ripping this second one off because I just had it welded right here on top. So what I did was put it all back on here, welded it again, and added some braces out, and it needed some more weight. So that right there, probably, it's 3 inches thick and 12 inches across, and probably 15 inches that way or more. I'd say that thing weighs at least 100 pounds, if not more. And I had an old piece of a motor grader blade, and just to try it, what I did was I welded 2 of the holes, because it ain't gonna be hitting anything. It's just made for weight. It ain't dragging the ground nowhere. That's that. My driveway, it was packed real hard, and those teeth, I've already bent them back some, but I had them welded in there. But it's cutting them in this tube is better, because I can just pull them out and replace them when I want to. So I'm not going to weld no more of them. I think about all of them's busted off, and I'm going to leave it that way. They stay in, they don't bounce out. Doing the angle iron like that, it creates like a box blade, like I was telling you about earlier. That's what I was wanting. It'll gather all the gravel in, it'll fill this whole back run up, and then when you go over a pothole, it dumps it all in that pothole. It takes me about, to get this loosened up like this, say maybe a dozen times driving up and down it. But it does good. It didn't look like I had any gravel on this driveway beforehand, and now it looks like I just had a gravel truck come in and dump a whole load of gravel all the way up and down my driveway. But that's that. Like, comment, subscribe. Appreciate it.